Hi everyone, it's Dina and I'm back again today with another casual beading tutorial. Today's tutorial we'll be making a memory wire bracelet using Bargain Bead Box's March 2025 Key Lime Pie collection. So these are the items that you're going to need in order to finish this bracelet. The items from the box you're going to need to get out are going to be the stainless steel bead caps in gold. I have all 40 of them sitting out here because I don't know exactly how many I'm going to end up using just yet. You're going to need the New Jade Serpentine nugget beads. So I have just a collection of those sitting out at the moment. You're going to need the 8mm crackle glass beads in Honeydew. I have a few of those sitting out. And then the last thing from the box that you'll need are going to be the crystal faceted rondelle beads in Sea Opal AB, and these are in the 6x4mm. Other items you're going to need are some seed beads. Of course, I'm using Miyuki, that's my bead of choice. So these are the 11Os in the Duracoat galvanized champagne color. If you're interested in Miyuki's number, it's 4204. You're going to need some wire, memory wire, so I just have whatever's left over on this current one that I'm using. You're also going to need some pliers. I like to finish my memory wire off with making loops, so I have a 6-step bail making pliers. And then you're going to need some wire cutters. Your memory wire cutters, not your normal cutters. So get all those supplies out and then meet me back and I will show you that first step. Alrighty, so I have only out at the moment just the nugget beads, the rondelles, and my seed beads. We'll end up doing probably another 3 loops of our memory wire. So it's going to be about 3 loops. It may end up being about 4, just kind of depends on how it looks at the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by using our memory wire and making our loop at the end, the way that I like to make them. So grab your 6-step bail making pliers if you choose to do it this way. I'm going to use the smallest step here, which is the 2mm one. I'm going to put the end of the memory wire in between the arms of the plier to where I can't feel the memory wire on the end. And what I'm going to do is, if I can grab onto it and keep a hold of it, keeps slipping out of my hands. Okay, so what I'm going to do is turn inwards. Now you do have to put a little bit of elbow grease on this because memory wire is a little hard to turn, especially at the very beginning. And what I'm doing as I'm turning, I'm also pushing down. I'm turning this way with my right hand, but I'm also pushing down on the wire with my left hand. That helps sometimes to get the wire to turn in the direction that you want it to turn in. So I'm just continuing this along, and I want to get about 2 loops. I usually don't do more than 2 loops, if I can get it to go. It's kind of stuck here in this one spot. Okay, here we go. Now it's kind of turning again a little bit. And what I'm trying to do is get it to where the end that we started off with over here is going to be facing upwards on the memory wire. If it's facing upwards, then it'll be much more comfortable. Keeps sliding in the pliers at the moment, but it'll be much more comfortable with whoever's wearing it. There we go, now we got it. So like I said, it does take a little bit of elbow grease, so this may not be the best option for everybody that's out there. But they do make also bead caps that you can purchase to glue a bead cap on to the end of it, and it just makes it look like there's another bead sitting there. So that's the first thing that we need to do, is create ourselves an end on one of the sides of the memory wire. And then I am just working with the whole loop of memory wire. And I'm trying to get it untangled, because of course that's going to happen because I'm recording. Okay, let's see if I can get this untangled quickly. Go that direction. No, it's not going to work. Of course not. Why would it work? Let's do it this way. And then we can get to putting our beads on eventually once we get to the end. Good gracious. Wow. Okay, sorry about that. So, our pattern on this first part is going to be a crystal, because I always like to start off with crystals and or larger beads that will sit up against that loop that's down here at the bottom. So we're going to do a crystal, and then we're going to add a nugget bead, but in between each of these beads is going to be an 11-0. So we'll start off with a crystal, and then we'll put an 11 and then a nugget bead. And it doesn't matter which nugget bead, then an 11 and then a crystal. So then the next bead after the crystal is going to be another 11-0. So then that's the first part right there. It's a crystal, 11 nugget, 11 crystal, and then you just start over again. So it would be an 11, another nugget, an 11, and a crystal. Now I'm going to continue this pattern until I have one full loop plus a little bit past that loop of these beads. Now since we're using the nuggets in this one, the amount of beads that you're actually going to end up using is going to be different for everybody, because the nuggets are just that, they're a nugget, so they're going to be slightly different in size. So I can give you an estimate of how many beads that I used as far as nuggets and crystals are concerned at the end of this first loop, but yours is probably going to look different than mine. But at least it could give you an idea of how many that we used. So trying to find the hole in that nugget. So just continue to add these, and I'm not breaking away just yet, just so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about as far as how many beads to add on and or when to stop adding beads, just in case that's a little confusing. So I'm picking up small nuggets, I'm picking up big nuggets. The only thing that I ended up doing is just making sure that my nuggets are about the same color. Some of my nuggets were a little bit more of a yellowy green, and so I just put those off to the side. I want these to look more like the top of a key lime pie, where you get that whitish look on the top of it, and then the middle section is going to be the 8mm beads, and that's going to make it look like it's the center portion of the key lime pie. And key lime pie, I know, is kind of an acquired taste. Not everybody likes it. Not everybody enjoys it. I love key lime pie. It's one of my favorites. It's like I eat it in different types of yogurts. I'll eat it as the pie itself. It's one of my favorites. Alright, so we have just a few more beads to add. And then we should be about where I would like to be, which I think we're right there now. So what I'm doing is I'm moving these beads down on the memory wire to where it is tight, but I'm letting the memory wire kind of sit in a normal way. And you see how this nugget bead is sitting just on top of the crystal bead that we first added at the very beginning. So that's where I want to end. I want to end to where I'm sitting just above that crystal bead when you pull these down tight and everything, or just after it. So you could have a bead that's sitting over here off to the side a little bit further. That's perfectly fine too. I just want to be slightly past that first one so we get one full complete circle of it. So go ahead and continue that part. And as far as the crystals and the numbers are concerned, I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So about 11 of your rondelles, and then I ended up using, I think, probably 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Nope, 11 of the nugget beads. There again, your nugget beads are going to be different sizes than the nugget beads that I have, so your number may be a little bit different. So somewhere around 11 beads each. So go ahead and finish that portion, then meet me back and I'll show you that center portion of it. Alright, so the center portion of our somewhere around 3 loops of our memory wire is going to consist of the same seed beads again. Then we're going to use the bead caps around that are going to be surrounding our 8mm crackle beads. So, and since I ended up with just a nugget at the end of the last round, I'm going to go ahead and add a seed bead. Then we're going to add one of our bead caps, just making sure that you're picking up one bead cap because a lot of these are sitting inside each other, so make sure you're just picking up one and not accidentally two. Then you're going to add one of your 8mm. Then you're going to surround that 8mm with a second bead cap. Just making sure your bead cap is going in the correct direction. Just like that. And then after that, you add an 11-0. And that's pretty much all this second section is going to be. So your next thing would be a bead cap. And then you would have your your 8mm. That's what I get for using seed beads a lot. And then your other bead cap on this side. And then you're going to separate it out with another 11-0. So that's all this section is going to be. And we're going to do the same thing as far as how many to add on. You're going to do the same thing. So if you need to, you can always scooch all of these beads down to the very end. That's why we put a loop on that first end down there to keep your beads from falling off. So if it's easier for you to scoot everything down to the bottom and then use that as your gauge as to how many beads you're going to have to add. So you want to do one full complete loop again. If you have to, you can go just slightly past this, or one full complete round past it if you want to do that. It's completely up to you. So I will finish this little section right here, and then I'll meet you back and I'll show you how many beads that I ended up using, just in case you want to use the same number. Alright, so here is my necklace so far, or bracelet so far. So it looks something like this. Looking pretty cool. I like it so far. So I ended up using 17 of my 8mm beads, and again with bead caps on either side and then the seed beads in between. So I ended up using 17 of those, so enough of the bead caps left over to where I can make a pair of earrings to go along with this if I wanted to. So now what we're going to end up doing is basically just the same thing that we did on the first round. So we're going to add a seed bead first, and then we're going to add our crystal, then seed bead, then another nugget bead, and then continue that around until you have another full round again with your memory wire. So that way you'll have the nugget beads on one strand. Basically you'll have your 8mm on the second strand, and then you'll have another strand of 8 of your nugget beads. So go ahead and get that portion finished, and then I'll tell you how many nugget beads and rondelles I used in that portion. Then I'll show you how to cut off your memory wire and finish it off. Alright, so now I have all my beads strung on to the memory wire that I want to bracelet that I'm making. So I ended up starting off in that last round. I started off with a nugget bead, and then went all the way around doing the same type of pattern that we did on the other side at the very beginning of this. And I ended up using 12 of the nugget beads, but only 11 of the rondelles. I wanted to end up with the rondelle at the end because I wanted to mimic the first part of the bracelet. So now what do you do once you get all your beads on? How do you cut off? So I'm positioning my memory wire to where the beads are pretty tight up against each other, and I'm leaving myself about a finger's width of wire, and then I'm going to cut off just past that. So basically I'm allowing my cutters to sit up against my finger, and then I'm just using the width of the cutters to gauge where it's going to be cut off. And then you cut that part off. And now you're left with a nice little part that we can try to curl up again with our bell making pliers. So grab a hold of it again, get it to where it is not, you can't feel it on the other side, and then try to twist. hopefully this side won't be as difficult as the first side was for me, and I might be able to get this one recorded a little bit quicker, maybe, because it's already being a little difficult. I always twist inwards with my memory wire, and that's only because I have tried to do it outwards before, and it has not worked for me. It will crack the memory wire sometimes and or break it. And sometimes even doing it this way will break the memory wire. So you just have to be careful with it. And then, now it's starting to kind of turn some. And try to get it to where that end is facing upwards. So that way it's comfortable for whoever's wearing the bracelet, whether it's for yourself, if you sell your products like I do at events and on my Etsy shop, which is linked down below if you would like to check that out. So that is now complete. So now I have that end part of the memory wire facing upwards, so that way when you put it on, it will be a little bit more comfortable to wear. So thank you very much for watching. This is what the memory wire bracelet looks like at the end. Love the crystals because it gives it that just a little bit of a sparkle to it. But it does remind me of key lime pie because you have the outer or the upper part where you got the white portion of it, and then you have the key lime portion of it, and it looks like key lime pie to me. I love this. Alrighty, so thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button as well as the subscribe button, and then leave a comment down below. I like to read your comments and know how you feel about the video. So thanks again for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.